The fraud I covered for the Fraud Paper Project was the Lehman Brothers fraud of 2008, although it was said they began fraudulent behavior in 2001. In this fraud, employees and management of the Lehman Brothers utilized a fraudulent system called Repo 105. In Repo 105, the company would enact repurchase agreements with other banks and companies. This means they would borrow cash from another company while lending an asset of theirs, typically treasury bills or bonds, as collateral with the idea that they would get the asset back after a few days or weeks when they repay the loan. Repos, as they are called, are used to convert securities and other assets into cash needed for a firm's various activities, such as trading. What Lehman Brothers did to make the transaction against the rules was to utilize a loophole in the code called Repo 105. In Repo 105, they would lend an asset at the rate of 105% of the cash they received in exchange. By doing this, they were able to account for the transaction as the sale of the asset. For reference, under standing accounting procedure, repurchase agreements are accounted for as loans. They would use this Repo 105 practice towards the end of their fiscal quarters to move the assets off their books, thus altering their leverage ratios. It was a means of defrauding investors by touching up their financial statements. About $39 billion was removed from the balance sheet at the end of the fourth quarter of 2007, $49 billion at the end of the first quarter of 2008, and $50 billion at the end of the next quarter. The people involved in the fraud were employees and management of Lehman Brothers. In particular, there was Richard Fuld, Lehman's former chief executive officer, and Aaron Callan, Lehman's former chief financial officer. These individuals denied their knowledge of the company's use of Repo 105. I believe they were likely lying to cover their own reputation. On the other hand, it is possible that they genuinely knew nothing about this fraudulent behavior because of willful ignorance. By demanding lower employees to achieve certain metrics no matter the cost, they set the stage for unethical behavior in the company. Repo 105 may have been the result of a bad tone at the top. Another party involved in this fraud was Ernst & Young, the auditor that certified Lehman's financial statements. This party was found negligent by the authorities, yet still claimed that Lehman's financial statements were sound. The auditors, Ernst & Young, should have sounded the whistle that behavior outside the regulations was occurring. At the least, EY should have notified Lehman that they needed to account for these transactions correctly for them to issue a good opinion. The resolution of the Lehman Brothers accounting fraud was twofold. On one hand, the regulations were changed and new rules were enacted that closed the loopholes that allowed Repo 105. On the other hand, Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. This wasn't necessarily only from the falling market confidence related to Repo 105, but largely from their extensive holdings of subprime mortgage securities. Near the end of other financial institutions like JP Morgan Chase and Citigroup began demanding more in collateral from Lehman, leading to them having short-term cash deficiencies and ultimately their failure. Their bankruptcy was the largest in U.S. history to date. The U.S. government decided that they would not be bailing the bank out, and it also seemed Lehman was unable to find a buyer. Many people lost their investments, and their collapse led to a string of market concerns that echoed throughout the world.